When it comes to the reviews of these tournaments, basically what I like to do them is to show you how successful the bucket system was, how successful the Marquee Tee Times were, how successful the sweet spot process was in general. I don't necessarily care to talk about who won the tournament, although I'll let you know it was Victor Hovland, as you saw in the thumbnail. I just want to go over the sweet spot process so you have confidence using it this week for the Tour Championship. So the first thing I like to start with is this bucket system page, which I want you to focus on this column right here. A Y means the bucket was successful, and N means it was not. Now, in order for the buckets to be to get a Y in these cells, well, one, we look at the projections that I had for the week. So for this last year one bucket, I actually had 2.51, which we round down to 2 as the minimum. We wanted to select at least 2 golfers from this bucket. That's what that means. And then we look at our maximum, and this is 4.18. We round up to 5. So this bucket is saying we want somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers to, well, at least what it tells us is we're projecting 2 to 5 golfers to finish inside the top 10. And the best way to hit the optimal lineup are to select golfers that we think are going to be inside the top 10. All 6 of them. I mean, that was the old goal of SweetSpot DFS, was to get all 6 of our golfers inside the top 10, but you can score more DraftKings points than like outside of the top 10 than being inside the top 10. So we don't necessarily care about all 6 being inside the top 10, but we still want to shoot for all 6 of our golfers to be inside the top 10, if that makes sense. So 2 to 5 is the projection. So this column here will calculate whether or not that many golfers were inside the top 10. So we had 5. Well, that falls inside that range of 2 to 5, so it already is a success. Now, if it wasn't, it would then look at the optimal lineup. And if the optimal lineup had golfers that, you know, the amount of golfers in the optimal lineup fit inside that projection for the last year one bucket, that would also make it a success. But if both of these numbers fell outside of that projection, then it would be a no. So as you can see, scrolling through this, we have had that many top 10s or optimal lineups in every one of the buckets. Now you see these 2 no's down here. Let me highlight those. So this is Excel. Like, it's Google spreadsheets. It has limitations. I can build code to fit what I'm about to tell you into it, but that takes a lot of time, and I might as well just tell you as opposed to just write the code. If you watched the preview video, I explain this, and I will explain it here when I get to the bucket system for the Tour Championship. We always round down with this minimum to 0, but we always have to ensure there's a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. So you can see this is 0. That means the max has to be 2. And as you can tell, there's actually 2 golfers, not only inside the top 10, but also in the optimal lineup. So this should actually be a Y because it was successful. It not only had 1, but it also had 2. Likewise, this bucket down here is the same thing. You can see there's a 0 and a 1 basically. This would be 0 to 2 as well, and the same thing applies for how many golfers showed up inside the top 10 as well as the optimal lineup. So the reason why those weren't successful is because the code here does not include, it doesn't capture this being a 0 to 2. It just says, oh, that's 0 to 1. And quite frankly, this should be successful. I don't understand why it doesn't show that. I'd have to look at the code. But either way, I guess we could do this really quick. Let's just verify each projection actually fits. So 2 to 5, 5, 1 to 3, 6. So then we go here, 2. That was successful. 0 to 2. We have 1. 0 to 2. 0. 0. 0. 0 to 2. 2. 2 to 5, 6. So we go here, 1. Okay, so that shouldn't be successful either. What is going on? All right, if G10 is less than 2, which it is not. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to figure this out live, but obviously that one should be a no. I'm not sure why it says... I mean, I don't want to figure this out because I don't want to waste your time, but I also kind of want to figure it out because I don't understand why. AB10. So if G10 is less than or equal to 2, which it is not, we can skip that part. If AA10 is less than H, which it is not, no. If AB10 is greater than roundup of G10, it's 5. Weird. I don't know why that's not working. The code is fine. How is that not a failure? If AB10 is greater than roundup of G10, so that would be right here. So AB10 is this, and if this rounded up, I'm sorry. Oh, it's limited code. Shouldn't be looking at AB10. I found a discrepancy in here. Okay. Weird. I wonder why I didn't catch that before. All right, well, let's go through the rest of these. So this is a no. So one bucket is a no. That's crazy. I have to do this for you guys. I'm sure some of you don't care. 1 to 3, 5 to 3, so 3 works. 0 to 2, we have 1 that works. 0 to 2, 2 and 1 work. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 1 to 4, 3 and 1, that works. 2 to 5, we have 7, but then 2, so that works. This is technically 0 to 2, we have 3, but then 1 works. 0 to 2, but we have, well, there's one golfer there. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0 to 2, 1 and 2. So obviously that one, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but that one should be fixed too. What is going on? That should be a success. Okay, this one needs to be looked at. I need to, okay, so hold on. 2 to 4, 5 and 3, that works. 2 to 4, 6 and 1 do not work, so that would be a failure. So that actually would be a failure. 0 to 2, 1, 1, that works. 0 to 2, 2, 1, that works. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 1 to 4, 4 and 2 work. 1 to 3, 2 and 0 work. 1 to 3, 5 and 2, so that works. The 2 fits in there. 0 to 2, 0, 0. 0 to 2, 2 and 0, so that works. This should be 0 to 2, 1 to 2, so that one should be different. And then we have 6 more buckets to go. 3 to 6, we have 7 and 3, so that works. 0 to 2, 2 and 1, that works. 0 to 2, 3 and 1 work, because the 1 works. 0 to 2, 2 and 1 work, and then 0, 0, 0, 0. So it actually is 2 buckets failed. Either way, 34 to 36 buckets were correct. And I'm sorry that that took a lot longer than it needed to. I need to update this. Okay. That one will get fixed. All right. So then the other piece that goes into this is looking at the Marquee Tee Times. Now, it was interesting because we had a limited field and we only had 2 golfers in each tee time. So I wasn't sure if the Marquee Tee Times were going to work. In fact, we kind of included a little workaround on the optimizer. I shouldn't even say workaround. We were pretty lenient with the optimizer. I allowed you to pair up golfers if you wanted to use the optimizer, and guess what? We didn't even see a pair up of golfers in the optimal lineup. These little black tick marks indicate optimal lineup. So Scottie Scheffler was in it, Victor Hovland was in it, and so too was Brian Harman. We'll get to the optimal lineup here shortly. But those 3 golfers were in the Marquee Tee Times, and I tell you want to select 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times to put in your lineups, and you don't want to pair them up together. That held true for this event. Now, normally, we went through this in the preview video for the BMW Championship. It didn't necessarily happen every single year. There were times where golfers were paired up. So that's why I was a little lenient on those rules this week, but still, it matched up. So yeah, the Marquee Tee Times were 100% successful. So the last thing to look at is actually looking, oh my goodness. I just realized so the optimal lineup stuff is based off of this. I didn't update it all the way. Crazy. I wonder if that'll change. Or maybe it just looks at the DK page. I mean, I forgot. Shame on me. I know, I'm sorry. So yes. This one should be a yes. And then yes, and those 3 are yeses. Okay, cool. Let me double check. Did that change anything here? It did not. Because this is feeding from here. I feel like I updated this one properly. Yeses. Yep. Yes and yes. Okay. So yeah, that was updated. All right. Anywho, why I like to go over the optimal lineup versus the GPP versus the sweet spot is that's the final piece. It's comparing the sweet spot to both the optimal and the GPP win lineup to see how well it did. If we can take down a GPP, wonderful, but we're trying to aim for the optimal. So your optimal left $100 on the table. It scored 598.5 points. And we had 2 10K golfers, an 8K, 8K, 6, and 5K. So that's really interesting. Your GPP win lineup scored 588.5 points, and you used up $49,800. Well, the optimal was 598. The GPP was 588. So that's pretty darn good. 10 points behind the optimal lineup. That's hard to beat. And the optimal used those top 3 golfers, Hovland, Scottie, and Fitzpatrick. Had Russell Henley at 82, Hoagie at 57, and Kirk at 6,000. So it had actually 2 golfers in the that finished 20th or worse. But obviously Hoagie was in the optimal lineup, finishing 21st place because of DraftKings points. That's the most important thing when it comes to DraftKings is scoring points. And that comes through birdies, eagles, birdie streaks, stuff like that. And obviously Tom Hoagie must have had those things to have that high of points and that bad of a finish. Now, the Sweet Spot Optimal, unfortunately, only scored 581.5 points. So not only did it not hit the optimal lineup, but it also did not take down a GPP. This is one of very few years, or one of very few tournaments where the Sweet Spot Optimal did not beat the GPP winning lineup. So kudos to that person. I believe this one was good enough for second place though. So instead of winning $100,000, it would have won you $40,000. And had those top 3 guys, Hovland, Scheffler, and Fitzpatrick. But then had Putnam at 68, Theegala at 7, and Svensson at 62. And it's kind of funny, like Theegala kept showing up in the optimizer during the live video Tuesday. And I was like, man, this isn't good. I don't want this much Sahith Theegala. It just isn't panning out to what I want, what I need, or that I'm comfortable with. Sure enough, it was. Theegala was in the Sweet Spot Optimal. Again, it went to one first place, but it was definitely, it would have been worth it. And we would have had a high 6K with the low 6K. I just wasn't pairing up two 10K golfers together. So I don't think I would have ever gotten there. And of the 9K golfers, I wasn't doing much Max Homa or Sung JM. So I actually won my money back, but it was off of one contest. And that contest had Matt Fitzpatrick in it with Scheffler in it. Did not have Victor Hovland in it, believe it or not. So that, or no, I think it had Fitzpatrick and McIlroy in it. So either way, there are many ways to make your money back or to make money. It doesn't really require having the winner, but that's not something I advocate for. Either way, this was one of the very few weeks where the sweet spot process was not 100% successful. And it did not take down a GPP. So I like to be transparent with you. I don't want to fake it or lie to you guys. So yeah, didn't work out during the BMW Championship, but maybe it will for the Tour Championship.